Have you ever wondered why your life is so difficult? Why do you face so many struggles while others seem to walk with ease? If you feel that every step you take is accompanied by challenges, persecutions, and moments of loneliness, perhaps this is not a coincidence. Perhaps you are one of God's chosen ones. Ever since you were little, you already felt like you were different. The world never seemed to understand you completely. The people around you don't understand your essence, your pain, your battles. Have you ever noticed that often when you are about to achieve something great, obstacles appear that seem insurmountable, as if there was a force trying to stop you from getting to where God wants you to be? This happens because the chosen ones do not have an ordinary life. They are shaped in fire, shaped in pain, and prepared for something much greater. God's chosen ones carry a light that bothers them. Your spirit shines in a way that attracts looks of admiration, but also of envy. Have you ever noticed that people around you often seem to reject you for no reason? Friends move away, opportunities seem to close, and even within your own family, you feel like you don't fully belong. This happens because your spiritual essence does not align with the world around you. You were not made to blend in, but rather to stand out. The Bible shows us countless examples of chosen ones who faced intense trials before living the purpose for which they were called. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers and sold into slavery before becoming governor of Egypt. David was rejected, persecuted, and had to hide for years before being crowned king. Even Jesus was despised, humiliated, and crucified before fulfilling his mission. Do you notice the pattern? Suffering comes before exaltation. The trial comes before the promise. Maybe you're asking, why me? Why did God choose me for this difficult journey? The answer is simple: because He sees something in you that you may not even see yourself. He knows your potential, your strength, and the impact you can make on the world. The enemy attacks those who pose a threat, and if you have faced so many struggles, it is because you carry something powerful within you. Now I want to know, have you ever felt that feeling of being alone, of being rejected for no reason, of facing challenges that seem much bigger than you can handle? Comment below and share your experience, because I know there are many people going through the same thing. This video is for you, for those who know that their journey is not easy, but who feel in their hearts that they have been called to something greater. And if you want to better understand why the chosen suffer so much, stay with me. Since ancient times, being chosen never meant having an easy life. On the contrary, history shows that the chosen ones were always the target of struggles, persecutions, and challenges that seemed insurmountable. But why does this happen? Why do those who carry a greater purpose face more difficulties? If you have ever felt that your life has been marked by constant trials, if you have ever wondered why it seems that everything for you is more difficult than for others, then read on, because this message is for you. Let's start with Joseph of Egypt. He was just a young dreamer, but God had already placed a great destiny on his life. However, before arriving at the palace, Jose went through betrayals, rejections, and moments of total loneliness. He was sold by his own brothers, thrown into a well, taken as a slave to a foreign land, and unjustly imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. Now think, how many times have you felt that the people closest to you don't understand your calling? How many times have you been betrayed by those who should have been by your side? Joseph went through it all, but each moment of pain was an essential part of fulfilling God's plan in his life. If Joseph had not been sold, he would never have reached Egypt. If he hadn't been arrested, he would never have met the right people to be lifted up. What seemed like destruction was in fact a carefully plotted path for his ascension. Can you see this in your own life? Comment here if you've ever realized that your pain took you to a place you never imagined you would be. Now let's look at David, chosen by God to be king, but before reaching the throne, he had to face persecution, humiliation, and even assassination attempts. Saul, the king, David never threatened, became his greatest enemy. How many times have you felt that for no apparent reason, some people seem to have something against you? David had to flee, hide in caves, face constant battles, and learn to trust God completely to survive. But do you know what this teaches us? That persecution doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It often means you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The enemy only tries to destroy what has value. If you face a lot of struggles, this could be a sign that you carry something great within you. Have you ever felt like your journey is harder than other people's? Write in the comments, "I am chosen," if you feel that your life has a greater purpose. And the greatest example of all, Jesus, the Son of God himself, sent to earth with humanity's most important mission, was not spared the pain and suffering. Since its birth, it has already faced threats. Herod tried to kill him as a baby. During his life, Jesus was rejected by many, persecuted, humiliated, betrayed by one of his closest disciples, and in the end, crucified as a criminal. If even Jesus faced rejection and suffering, why would we believe our journey would be any different? This does not mean that God has abandoned us. On the contrary, it means there is a greater purpose behind every tear, every fight. Have you ever felt that the pain you face is part of something bigger? If so, write in the comments, "My fight has purpose." The truth is that those chosen always carry a different weight. But this weight is not a curse, but a sign that God is molding something extraordinary within you. What did Joseph, David, and Jesus have in common? Everyone went through great trials before being exalted. You may be living in your own desert right now, but know that the desert is not the end, but rather the preparation for something greater. And when the time is right, God will lift you up before all those who doubted you. Therefore, if you feel that your life has been marked by battles, understand that this is not a sign of defeat, but an indication that you are on the right path. If this message made sense to you and touched your heart, perhaps it is a sign that there is something greater guiding you. Continue this journey with us. There is much more for us to discover together. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that can strengthen your journey. The challenges that the chosen ones face throughout their lives are not mere coincidences or divine punishments, but rather a necessary process of polishing and preparation for a greater purpose. God does not choose those who are complacent. He calls those who have within themselves the flame of transformation. But for this transformation to happen, it is necessary to go through trials. Suffering is the tool that God uses to shape his chosen ones, removing what is superfluous and strengthening what is essential. Often, the pain we feel is not a sign of abandonment, but a call to look beyond the visible and see what really matters. If you've ever felt like your life has been a succession of challenges, perhaps it's because God is preparing you for something that you still can't fully understand, but that one day will make perfect sense. Strengthening faith is one of the first purposes of suffering. Faith is not strengthened in the comfort zone, but rather in moments of greatest uncertainty, when everything seems lost, when the doors close, and when the paths seem impossible. That's when God tests the chosen ones. If you are experiencing difficulties right now, perhaps it is your faith that is being refined like gold in the fire. It's easy to trust God when everything is fine, but it's in the storm that true faith reveals itself. God allows his chosen ones to face battles so that they learn to depend on him, and not on circumstances or human forces. After all, those who trust only in what they see do not understand the grandeur of the divine plan. The chosen ones are called to trust even without understanding, to move forward even when everything seems to say otherwise. Whoever is chosen needs to remember that no tears are in vain, no fight is without purpose, and no pain is wasted. Furthermore, the chosen cannot live like everyone else. This is one of the most difficult aspects to accept, as it often means isolation, misunderstanding, and even persecution. But this separation from the ordinary is necessary because those who have a calling cannot mix with the world in an indistinct way. God does not call those who wish to follow the crowd. He chooses those who are willing to walk the narrow path, often alone. If you've ever felt like you don't fit in, that you've always been different, that your way of seeing the world isn't understood by everyone around you, that's not a mistake. This is a sign that you have been set apart for something greater. God chose you for something specific, and for that, he needs to keep you away from influences that could divert you from your mission. Ordinary people may follow their own desires, but the chosen live to fulfill a purpose that is above their will. This separation may hurt, but it is necessary. Whoever is called by God needs to be willing to leave behind what does not add to their purpose. The third spiritual reason for the difficulties faced by the chosen ones is training for the mission. Nothing that happens in the life of a chosen one is by chance. Every tear, every rejection, every fight is part of a great preparation process. If God has placed a great mission on your life, he needs to make sure you are ready to fulfill it. And for this, he uses suffering as a school. Pain teaches resistance and empathy, because those who have never suffered can hardly understand the pain of others. Those chosen are not called just to carry a spiritual banner, but to impact lives. And to impact lives, you must first feel the pain of the world firsthand. Therefore, the tests come, not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. Not to make you give up, but to teach you to continue even when everything seems to say otherwise. God did not call you to an ordinary life. If you feel like you are being tested, it is because your mission requires a greater level of preparation. God does not send unprepared warriors into battle. He trains, empowers, and strengthens. When we talk about how to overcome pain and continue on God's path, we are addressing one of the greatest spiritual battles that the chosen ones face. In times of trouble, it's easy to feel lost, question purpose, and even wonder if God is still listening. But it is precisely at these times that faith must be strengthened, as trials are not signs of abandonment, but of preparation for something greater. Have you ever wondered why your journey has been so difficult? Have you ever felt like struggles are more intense for you than for other people? If so, know that you are not alone. Comment here, I believe there is a purpose for my pain, and let's walk this path of overcoming together. The first key to overcoming these challenges is prayer. Prayer is not just a speech act, but a direct connection with God. Praying is opening your heart, surrendering your anguish, and allowing Him to renew your strength. Often God's silence does not mean absence, but a test of patience and trust. It is in this silence that we learn to depend on Him, to trust in perfect timing, and to develop an unshakable faith. Have you experienced times when you prayed but felt there was no answer? If so, know that God is always listening, and sometimes He teaches us to trust through waiting. So keep praying, keep seeking, because help comes. Another big trap is doubt and discouragement. These emotions are tools that the enemy uses to keep the chosen ones away from their divine purpose. When you begin to doubt yourself, your mission, and God's love, the ground becomes fertile for giving up. But remember, God didn't bring you here to abandon you. All the struggles you faced, all the difficulties and pain were allowed to shape you, prepare you, and strengthen you. There is a purpose for every tear. There is a learning experience in every test. Gold often needs to be refined in fire to shine more brightly. So if today you feel in the middle of the storm, understand that God has already prepared a rainbow for you. Write in the comments, I trust God's plan for my life, and declare this truth about yourself. Also, don't try to carry everything yourself. Connecting with people of faith who share the same values and understand the spiritual battles you face can be a powerful source of strength. Isolation is one of the most dangerous traps, because in the silence of solitude, the mind can be dominated by negative thoughts. When we are surrounded by fellow believers, we are strengthened, encouraged, and reminded of God's promises. Jesus taught us about the power of communion, about the importance of being united as the body of Christ. If you feel like you have been walking alone, make the decision today to seek that connection. Join prayer groups, share your struggles with trusted people, and see how God can use other lives to lift you up. Another essential attitude to overcome pain and remain firm in faith is to remember God's promises. The Bible is full of passages that reinforce God's unconditional love for us and His faithfulness in fulfilling everything He promised. In Isaiah 41:10 it is written, Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my faithful right hand. This promise must be kept in the heart as an anchor in times of storm. When doubt arises, declare the truths of the word over your life, as faith comes from hearing, and hearing the word of God. Gratitude is also a powerful weapon for overcoming pain. In the midst of difficulties, it is easy to focus only on the suffering and forget everything we have already achieved and all the times God has delivered us. Gratitude transforms perspective, teaches us to see beyond pain, and strengthens our faith to continue. Start a daily gratitude exercise. Every day, write down at least 3 things you are grateful for. Over time, you will realize that even in the midst of struggles, there are reasons to be grateful. So do this now. Comment here one thing you are grateful for today. Let's fill this space with words of gratitude and strengthen our faith together. Remember that your journey is unique, your purpose is special, and your pain is not in vain. God is working in you, shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and preparing something greater. Each battle won is a testimony that can inspire other lives. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged, because in time, you'll see that everything made sense. God is with you, guiding every step. Stay strong, because there is a great victory waiting for you. Since the beginning of humanity, God has always separated specific people to fulfill great purposes. The chosen are not only those who stand out, but those who, even in adversity, feel within themselves an inexplicable calling, a force that drives them to move forward, even when everything seems to be against them. Think of Moses, who was saved from the waters and taken to the palace in Egypt only to, at the right time, free God's people. He did not fit in either among the Hebrews or among the Egyptians, as he carried a special mission that he would only fully understand later. Likewise, today's chosen ones also face this feeling of displacement. From a young age, they feel that they are different, that their battles are more intense, and that their victories never come without great cost. This happens because the preparation of a chosen one is done through challenges, proving their faith and shaping their character for the mission that God has for them. See Joseph, sold by his own brothers, unjustly accused and imprisoned, but who at the appointed time was exalted to rule Egypt and save multitudes. Every pain he faced was part of the plan to position him where God wanted him. If you feel like a stranger in the world, if it seems like no one understands the depth of your struggle, know that this is not by chance. Those chosen go through painful processes because they need to be prepared to carry something bigger. David was just a shepherd, despised even by his own family, but he was chosen by God to be king. Before reaching the throne, he had to face the giant Goliath, escape from Saul, and go through deserts, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. This is also the case with those who carry a calling. Before exaltation comes the desert. What sets a chosen one apart is their resilience and their ability to continue believing, even when there are no apparent reasons for it. God never promised an easy journey, but he guaranteed that he would be with the chosen ones every step of the way. When you feel like everything is falling apart, when doors seem closed and those around you don't understand your pain, remember that every great man and woman called of God faced opposition before they lived out their promise. The story of Gideon is another powerful example. He saw himself as the smallest in his house, without the skills to lead, but God saw in him a brave warrior. This proves that the chosen ones do not always recognize their own strength. Maybe you're going through a period of uncertainty, wondering why you face so many challenges, why it feels like your life is a constant battle. But know that each fight is preparation, each obstacle is shaping you for something greater. What today seems like meaningless suffering, tomorrow will be the testimony that will transform lives. If you are going through struggles, know that God has already written a purpose for you. Don't give up. Each battle, each challenge that comes your way is not a chance, but a sign that something greater is being prepared for your life. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to face more intense challenges than others? Why, since childhood, have you felt that there is something different about you, as if you do not fully belong to this world? This happens because those who carry a special mission are shaped by the fire of trial. Many of those chosen go through periods of loneliness, rejection, and even persecution, but this is all part of a larger process. When God separates you, he is not punishing you but preparing you. Isolation is not a punishment, but a moment of strengthening. Remember, before a big mission, there is always a period of preparation. Moses spent years in the desert before leading the people of Israel. David faced trials before becoming king, and even Jesus had to endure rejection before fulfilling his mission on earth. And you? Have you noticed that, even in the face of difficulties, there is an invisible force guiding you? That when everything seemed to be lost, something happened and changed the course of your story. This is no coincidence. God is acting even if at times it seems silent. God's silence does not mean absence, but an invitation to trust and become stronger. Many times he allows certain doors to close so that you do not stray from the path he has prepared for you. The people around you may not understand your journey. They may call you strange, a dreamer, or even judge you for your faith. But the truth is that not everyone is called to the same journey. Whoever is chosen carries with them a weight, but also a greater purpose. The suffering you face today will be the testimony that transforms lives tomorrow. Have you ever imagined how many people will be impacted by your example of overcoming? How many will find strength in your story to continue believing? And that's why you can't give up. Your story is still being written, and the pain you feel now are the scars of a warrior who won. Many times God takes us to the limit so that we can understand that strength does not come from us, but from him. When we recognize this, something incredible happens. Peace takes over our hearts, and we understand that everything is part of a perfect plan. If you've made it this far, you may have already realized that nothing in your life is by chance. But there's something they haven't told you yet, and it could change everything. Before you leave, know this: the chosen face. Battles that few could endure. And there is a reason for that. Don't make the mistake of ignoring the signs that God has placed in your path. Click on this video, and you will understand the truth that many try to hide. But remember, not everyone is ready to hear this revelation. You are.